Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the N64 Memories podcast. Welcome to episode 4. Thank you for joining me wherever you are. It's really appreciated. And I've got a really brilliant guest on the show today. He runs 4intypinger.co.uk. He runs the X account N64 magazine. Lewis, how you doing?
I'm pretty good, Stephen. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to see you finally. We've corresponded on and off over the years, haven't we? So it's good to see you face to face.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for the first time face to face. But yeah, we've known each other for a while. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So this, my Facebook page, the podcast is about memories. So I really wanted to start with what your core memories are of, the original N64 era.
Yeah, well, I've got lots of them. I suppose to start at the beginning. I don't know about you, but I got my N64. I didn't get it at launch. I got it at Christmas time because obviously in the UK it came out a lot later, 97. So yeah, I had to wait till Christmas to get mine eventually. I had a couple of friends that had theirs, so I got to play on them a little bit ahead of that time. But I was just so desperate to get hold of Mario 64. That was the one game that I really wanted to get hold of. Wasn't sure I was going to get it for that Christmas, but then I don't know when you got yours, but there was a price. There was a couple of price crashes, wasn't there, with the system as the year went on, and then just before Christmas time, it came down to 99 quid. So I thought, yeah, okay, maybe there might be a chance that I'd get it this year.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I got mine in the first price drop about May 97. I was like feverishly saving for it. And then I saw like an ad in the paper that had gone down in price. And by that point, I had enough. Not for a game, but I had enough for the console. So I got that and I waited till Mario Kart 64 came out.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, because that annoyed quite a lot of people when that price crash happened, because it happened. It was only like 2 or 3 months?
Yeah,
It wasn't very long after the launch.
Yeah.
It was 2 months, yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable.
One of my friends... Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think Nintendo, gave people free games to those who complained, who had paid £250 for it.
Yes, yeah, they did. I was going to say that I did have a couple of friends that bought it pretty close to launch. I don't know if they got it at that sort of the full price when it first arrived, but yeah, a couple of them had it, and one of my friends sold his Sega Saturn and all of its games to get hold of it just for the one game, because it was a price. It was obviously like the most pricey system, wasn't it, when it came out? Games were certainly, I mean, they came down a little bit in the end, but they were very expensive. So you had to sort of very be pick and choose about which software you were going to buy. So when I got mine, I just had one game, and the games that I went on to buy, I'd always buy them secondhand usually, and I might get one for birthdays and Christmas. But yeah.
What were your first games then that you got?
So I got Super Mario 64, but the bundle. I'd actually, a friend had given me lent me his copy of Blast Corps.
Oh yeah.
Just before Christmas, because he knew that I was going to be getting, hoping to get the system for Christmas. And very, very generously, he lent me his copy of Blast Corps, and so yeah, I was sat with this cartridge, holding onto this cartridge, but nothing to play it on. But yeah, obviously when I got that for Christmas, I technically had 2 games, but only one of them was actually mine.
Yeah.
And then I think the second game that I got would have been GoldenEye, but I would have bought that second hand. and then Wave Race as well secondhand. So I picked up a couple of like secondhand cheaper games
Yeah.
later on, but I went for the mostly the big hitters as GoldenEye, Mario, and Wave Race. I think were the first three that I got.
Yeah. And which one of those three was the one you just couldn't put down? Which dominated your playing time?
Definitely Mario 64. I mean, I played that to completion. I had to like finish it all the way. So yeah, I played that to obsession. That was the only game that I had really. And then when it was funny because when I got GoldenEye, a lot of my friends had got GoldenEye ahead of me, and they were raving about it, saying it's amazing. Everyone was talking about it. But I do remember that when I first got it, I played like the first level after half an hour or so. I wasn't that impressed by it, and I thought, okay, maybe it was just being hyped up.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't for me. And then I played it a little bit more. I think I got into the like the facility level after that, and then I thought, okay, yeah, it really got its teeth into me at that point. And then I probably played it obsessively for the next like 2 or 3 years. So in terms of like the game that really really hooked me, I'd probably say overall it would be GoldenEye, because I played that far more than any other game on the system.
Yeah, I mean, I'm completely the same. Completely the same. GoldenEye dominated. I've got other games, but I was hooked on GoldenEye. Hooked on it from everything through to Double O Agent and multiplayer with my friends. I mentioned in my first episode of the podcast that summer of '98, my friends and I, we barely went out. The four of us were in just my mate's room playing 4-player GoldenEye for most of that summer.
Yeah, and it seemed like so many people, so many kids of our age at that point that was what we were doing. If you were playing with groups, GoldenEye was the game to be playing, wasn't it?
It was,
not even in just in like 4-player. I think even in even like 2-player and 3-player games. I played a lot of 2 and 3-player sessions as well, with friends and cousins and my brother as well. So yeah, it was just
absolutely. If you could just
endlessly
get one
playable.
other, you're right. Just get one other person, and that was going in. That was going in the cartridge hole. Absolutely, it was brilliant. Any other memories that sort of stand out to you? Maybe later in your time with the N64.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot, because I stuck with it all the way through its lifespan.
Yeah,
I think with the N64, there was sort of like 3 milestones, I would say, in that there was Mario at the beginning, then that sort of long gestation towards Ocarina of Time, which felt like it was going on forever and ever.
yeah,
But obviously, eventually that arrived. That was sort of like in the middle of its lifespan.
yeah,
And then there was like another wait for Perfect Dark. So I always consider those three as like being like the key milestone games that the
yeah.
system had.
Like
We're
beginning, middle,
always
and
looking
end.
forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, amazing. So now with 2026, you run the X account N64 magazine. How did that come about?
Yeah, it's just a silly little idea really that I had. I like my gaming magazines. I've got quite a fairly extensive collection of mags that I've either held on to from back in the day, retro gaming mags, or ones that I've subsequently carried on collecting over the years. And one of my favourites is N64 magazine, which I do have here.
It's a brilliant
I'm sure this
magazine.
rings a bell if you've seen. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, in Britain we're quite spoiled for choice in terms of N64 magazines. I think there was at least like 6 or 7 on the go that you could choose from if you were to walk into a newsagent's back in the day. But N64 magazine was the one, I would say. It's the real standout in terms of quality, its writing. It had everything basically. It was the real standout.
It's
So
hilarious.
that's always been a favourite. It was very funny as well. Yes, it was.
Absolutely.
So I just had like a silly idea just to make an account that just post random quotes and snippets from the mag just to see if anyone would get any hit of nostalgia, remembering the good old days. So yeah,
Yes,
that's
it's
what
a
that
great
was. That's
account.
how that came about.
It's a great account. I'm not on X much at all anymore. I tend to just exclusively stick to Facebook. But that account, I didn't know you ran it, so I was following it. I would retweet it. Sorry, plenty of times. Like posts. Yeah, it's I like the quotes. My favourite one is always about MK mythologies and the sulfuric acid. I still remember it. That's a brilliant quote.
Yeah,
It's really
they
good.
never pulled punches back in the day, did they?
No. That's what I liked about it. The just brutal honesty of their reviews. Like I knew if they gave it a good score, it was a good game. There was no bias, no potentially a developer. I don't know, swinging it one way or the other. I don't know if that ever happened back in the day. But they were brutally honest, and I trusted them. And I remember buying Mischief Makers because of their review, and I loved Mischief Makers. Thought it was a
Oh,
great
really?
game.
Yeah. Yeah, they were spot on with their reviews. I think in the main, obviously, there's a couple that maybe they exaggerated slightly, but yeah, they were obviously a knowledgeable team
Mm,
of gamers like us at that time, and they knew how to get their point across.
yeah,
Probably not in the ways that journalists these days do, but yeah,
yeah, absolutely. I think in my it's just my opinion, but I feel like they got two reviews wrong. I think they got Doom 64 wrong. I think that stood the test of time pretty well, actually. And
yeah.
Mystical Ninja 2, they gave a really poor um, grade to that, and I think that's a brilliant game.
Yeah, it's funny because that sort of time was strange because a lot of games, particularly like 2D games or games that were rehashing old concepts. It was a time where nobody seemed to give those kind of games a second chance.
Mm,
If there were ports of games or games that have been done before, even if there were solid concepts and good games in their own right,
yeah,
we were so we were so like focused on the future of wanting the next
yeah,
best thing and the sort of things we really push along. So if something was a little bit more archaic, it wasn't as appreciated. But I think we do that now. It's funny you say Doom, because yeah, that was a really I think it scored well. It was recognized as a good version of Doom,
mm,
but it was seen as like old hat, wasn't it? It
yeah,
it was
yeah,
it was not really appreciated in its time. But people looking back on that game now, obviously, it's had a remaster since as well,
yeah,
and people see that it's probably like one of the best the best Dooms there are out there.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. It got harshly compared to GoldenEye at the time. I mean, it's a completely different type of game, really. And like you say, they just felt it was like I think they actually used that phrase "old hat." I think in their review, I might be wrong, but they definitely used some sort of version of that phrase. Absolutely,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, do you have all the copies of N64 magazine?
I've got most of them. I don't have some of the sort of straggle issues towards the end of its run, but I have all of
Yeah,
the key ones from the first one to towards the end. So I think I'm missing about 5 or 6, but yeah, I've I've got hold of them still, and I still kept hold of them. So yeah.
nice, nice. Yeah, the only one I kept hold of was actually the one where I got my letter published. Um, I
Oh,
think
are
it
you
was,
published in America?
yeah,
Okay.
issue 26. It's got Hybrid Heaven on the front. I think it's issue 26.
Yeah.
Hybrid Heaven on the
Yeah, I
front.
remember.
Um, I was playing F-Zero X Cup, and I was the last one left on the track after about, I think it was 11 seconds. I mean, I'll have to check. And I was last left. So they got the Game Boy camera out and took a snapshot on the Game Boy camera and
Yeah.
and sent it into them with a letter. And I remember being at school in form time with my mates, flicking through the magazine because that's what we did in form time. We got to read whatever we wanted to do. And I just stumbled upon my letter. I was like, oh my god, I'm published. I'm in there. So yeah, that was a pretty
Your
wild
fame.
moment actually. So I've always kept that issue, but the
Well,
rest have disappeared over time, unfortunately.
oh, okay, yeah. No, I've still kept all of mine. I still flick through them every now and again. I think I like to have. I mean, back in the day, I think having a magazine with your games console was like part of the experience. I think
Yeah,
even going back like 16-bit and 8-bit days, I think if you were playing a game, you'd often have a magazine next to you whilst you were
yeah.
playing with it. Um, so I'm quite nostalgic in that sense, and that I like
Oh,
to hold on to them
absolutely.
even when I'm playing them now. I like to flick through the old mags and see what they said.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was how we got our news month to month. We got updates on the games that we were looking forward to. It's such a different era. It really was compared to now. The updates come thick and fast on social media. And we would wait month to month for the latest screenshot of F-Zero X or Ocarina of Time or um, any of Perfect Dark is another good example.
Yeah, and the anticipation of having to wait for those games to come out, and be, like you say, you'd be relying month to month. You go
Yeah,
weeks and months without knowing what's going on. So the anticipation was like through the roof, wasn't it, for those types of games?
it,
Especially, yeah, Perfect Dark was a big
it
one for
really
sure.
was. It really was. And just like heading down to electronics boutique or game, Woolworths even, all these old shops that don't really exist on release day. It was something else. It was great.
Yeah, it was for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And so 2026, we're both still playing the Nintendo 64 30 years later, 29 for us in Britain. What games or what game are you playing at the moment?
Yeah, well, I got an analog 3D last year. If you've got one of those systems as well, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I picked one up. It's brilliant. Love it.
Yeah, so I've always had my N64 like hooked up with my games consoles. It's usually like one or two that I've got hooked up at any one time. I'm not a modern gamer. I still prefer the
No,
old systems, and I
me
just think
too.
there's so many different games to be going.
Yeah,
There's so many different games that I haven't played that I want to get around to playing. So I'm perfectly happy to play the old stuff. So yeah, whenever I'm playing N64, I'm usually trying to go through games that I've not played before in my backlog.
yeah.
And the one that I'm playing at the moment at the very moment is Mega Man 64. I've only
All
just
right.
started that though, but yeah, I'm giving that a go for the first time.
Yeah, I've never played it. What's it like?
It's a little bit crusty. It's a PlayStation port, so
Yeah,
it very much feels like a PlayStation game, which
right,
is no bad thing. Um, but the controls are quite clunky. It seems to be sort of like an interactive cartoon. It seems to be trying to present itself as a cartoon with a story.
right.
Not too much gameplay so far, but I've only played that for about 2 hours so far. So
Yeah,
early days at the moment. How about you? Are you
nice.
playing something at the moment?
Yeah, so I'm using obviously the analog 3D. I picked up a beautiful boxed copy of Rogue Squadron, the American version, for like £18, boxed everything, and really good condition. It's an old blockbuster game, evidently. So I think the box is in good condition, probably because they never gave out boxes. Blockbuster would just give out the cartridge. So even though I had it when I was younger and I finished it, I'm replaying that at the moment, and I'm just taking level by level and trying to get a gold medal before I move on to the next level.
Yeah, that's a hard game.
Mm,
That's a quite a frustrating game if I remember rightly.
yeah, I'm finding that again. It's all coming back to me because I probably haven't played it since 1999, 2000. Um, so I don't
Yeah,
know if I really will, if I'll get all the way to the end, gold medal by gold medal. I might end up sacking that off and just playing through it. And if I get a bronze, just move on. We'll see. We'll see because it's
yeah.
proven to be tough.
I did finish it back in the day, but I think I remember there's that you obviously get the grading system of getting the medals, but I
Yeah,
don't. I think I probably only didn't get too many of those at all.
yeah.
A question I wanted to ask you actually was quite on that topic of that
Yeah.
game. That game ran on original hardware. It's sort of, if I remember right, it's quite clunky.
Mm,
But obviously, the thing with the analog 3D, the thing that I really like about it is that you can overclock it. You can sort of like increase its performance, can't you?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you have to do it game by
Are
game.
you playing it like
Look, I'm like you. I'm not a modern gamer. I'm a bit of a technophobe with modern stuff. So I haven't really messed around with the analog much and changing different settings.
that? Okay.
So I plug in, I go, and I'm finding it absolutely fine. Um, I haven't had any slowdown or any major issues that have bothered me at all so far. Anyway.
Oh, that's interesting because yeah, okay, because if you it's not too difficult to do, but in the settings of the analog, you can adjust like an overclock setting.
Right.
I think by default it just defaults to the normal um, N64 behavior, but you can like
Yeah.
boost it up slightly. And
Okay.
I've found on a couple of games, particularly the ones that sort of struggled back in the day.
Mm,
You know, if you're thinking like Torok, Extreme G, sort of games that struggled a little bit. Even GoldenEye actually.
yeah.
Um, it will boost the frame rate a little bit, and it almost feels like a new game. I was really impressed with that feature of it actually. So I was just curious whether you tried that with Rogue Squadron, because it can sort of like enhance the playability of the games
Yeah.
actually.
Well, I definitely will next time I'm playing it. So I'll let you know.
Yeah,
I'll let
give
you
that a
know.
go for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. Right. Last thing I wanted to talk to you about was Wave Race 64. Wave Race 64
Uh-huh.
round about now is celebrating its 29th birthday over here in the PAL territories. April 97 it came out. I suppose it's nearly 30 years old because it was originally released in 96. So you mentioned earlier it was one of your first three games. What are your memories of Wave Race?
Yeah, it was. I got it. I remember getting it in the summertime ish. So this would have been summertime '98.
Yeah.
And I just like the look of it. I like racing games in general, um, but that's a real standout racing game
It's brilliant. Yeah.
that's held up. It's held up really well as well, I think, over the years. Um, and I don't think. I mean, it had its sequel. If you played the GameCube sequel,
Yeah. Blue Storm, I bought that. Yeah.
what did you think to that
I don't know. I
compared
should
to?
give it a second chance maybe nowadays, but at the time I didn't gel with it at all.
No, I would agree with that. I think that's sort of like the general consensus. I
Mm,
think Wave Race 64 really feels like a one off game.
yeah.
I think it almost feels like it feels like a game that like Sega or Namco would make for the arcade. It doesn't particularly feel like a Nintendo game. I don't think.
Mm,
It's very strange in that sense, but it's just got that typical Nintendo magic where it's a perfect blend of the technology and gameplay that you can just play again and again and again, discover new things each time you play it. It's such a replayable racing game. I think it's
yeah.
excellent.
Yeah. Absolutely. I would argue it's the best racing game on the system. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
that's subjective, I know, but lots of people go to Mario Kart, Diddy Kong, great games. Um, but I don't know, Wave Race is special. It's really special.
yeah. It really made use of the control stick. I think that's what the best Nintendo 64 games, they make good use of the analog stick, and that's definitely one of them. And, you know, you could not play that. You could, in theory, you could put it on another system,
Hmm.
maybe the 32-bit systems, but it would not feel the same. Not because of the graphics; it's to do with the control, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's
yeah, I don't
perfect for.
think.
Yeah. No, I was saying it's perfect for the controller. It was a good marriage, I think.
Did you would have bought the PAL version of Wave Race? We have to touch on that subject, I suppose,
Yeah, that's
because I
bought. I
would have
mean, I
done the
didn't
same.
buy it. I didn't own it originally.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No, I remember playing it in a game, I think, or an electronics boutique, and like after school we'd go into town, and we'd honestly go into town to go and play a Nintendo 64 in the very first few months. And especially suppose April and May before I had one. That's what was on the consoles. And yeah, the borders were horrific, weren't
They were in retrospect. I didn't notice it at the time.
they?
I think a lot of the magazines at the time did point out that it was
Yeah.
not a great conversion. But you didn't really know any better.
Well, we didn't know any
But I
different. Yeah.
do remember. Yeah, I remember when I got my Japanese system several years later, and got the Japanese version of Wave Race, and it's like, oh, there's a
Mm.
really big difference of how these two games perform. And it was one of those example of it was always Nintendo. Nintendo, for whatever reason, they were terrible at optimizing their European PAL conversions, particularly in the early days.
Yeah.
And that was quite a bad one.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that and Mario Kart as well is and F-Zero. I think the racing games are noticeably different.
Yeah, they do suffer. It's still a fantastic game. I think even if you got the PAL version, it's still
Yeah.
still a great game. But
Yeah, absolutely.
the
But
best way to be playing it is to.
yeah, I mean now I own the Japanese version of all three. I have the Rumble Pack version of Wave Race actually, which is brilliant. Japanese F-Zero, Japanese Mario Kart. So if ever I'm on original hardware, they're the only ones I would play. The only versions I would play now.
Yeah, for sure. I think that Rumble Pack version is like probably like the ultimate version of the game, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
it's got like remix music, I think, slightly. Not sure what other features it's got on there, but yeah, it's endlessly replayable because you can customize the game as well, can't you? In the settings, um, you can set the levels to randomize the wave effects.
Yeah.
I don't know if you tried that out, like in the settings. So you can. It's sort of like you never know how it's going to play. If you can fiddle around with those settings, you can. It feels like a fresh new game every time.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the subtle differences like that is what made some Nintendo games absolutely phenomenal. The ability to make it just so replayable. F-Zero X with its X Cup, GoldenEye with its so many
Yeah,
cheats and different settings. Yeah, the games, like you say, could be replayable for years. And good job because, people point out that, the very top quality games were, a little bit few and far between.
yeah, sure. I mean, there's been many pretenders that have tried to make wave based racing games since then, but I honestly I don't think anything's touched it since. In terms of
No.
playability, for sure, it's still the best, still the pinnacle.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Lewis, it's been absolutely brilliant talking to you, mate.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No, dear. Thank you for joining. It's really appreciated. Maybe, in the future, have you on again. We can find plenty more to chat about, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure we can. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. It's been great. Thanks a lot.
All right. Cheers, Steve.
Thank you. Bye.